Hey Raghunath, tell everyone about our Patreon community.
Sure, Kastuba. The Wisdom of the Sages Patreon community is an incredible online yoga resource. If you like the type of yoga wisdom and culture we share on the show, then our Patreon community is a great next step. This is a listener-supported podcast, and any level of sponsorship will unlock a wide range of live and archived classes, talks, and even workshops.
Raghunath teaches, I teach, and we have a host of other excellent teachers on topics ranging from yoga philosophy, asana classes, storytelling, Ayurveda, kirtan, cooking, meditation, and a lot more.
We even have an incredible online Bhakti 12-step recovery group.
So if you want to check it out, go to patreon.com/wisdom of the sages.
All right, let's get it on.
Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Come on!
Live from beautiful Maharashtra at the Govardhan Eco Village, this is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily yoga podcast with your host, Raghunath, and co-host and senior educator, Kastuba, co-educator at the Bhakti Center, Kastuba Das. Welcome to the show, everybody. Welcome to the Govardhan Eco Village, and we are in the Sangam, you call it.
Oh, yeah.
Right? It's the Sangam. It's
the cusp.
At the cusp. It's also Makara Sakranti. It's the day for new beginnings. It's the day for new beginnings. Let's just call it that. Okay. It's the day of new beginnings. And just in time, our Wisdom of the Sages training starts. They're still on the bus getting here, but we have some leftovers here from the 300 hour are here, and they're watching, and we have a big. They're not left. Well, they're left over from the last shift. Jai Gopi's here from Sarajevo. Welcome. And yeah, we're excited to be here. We just had a great lunch at Vicky's house.
Vicky is the example of how we make dreams come true.
He's taking all credit for their marriage.
We set it up.
That's something I would say.
I know, but
we did sort of set it up.
I did.
You did?
Vicky is from Ukraine.
She was a regular Zoomer.
She was a regular Zoomer, wonderful young lady. And she couldn't return home because she's from Mariupol, which is the city that was getting bombed the most. Mm-hmm. And she had to leave. Cyprus was where she was staying. And she wanted to stay at the Eco Village, but it's not easy to get in here.
No.
But I wrote a letter, and they were kind enough to understand her circumstances, and they brought her in, and then she fell in love.
Next thing you know, it's love.
She's married, and
I tell you, I've had a lot of groups on pilgrimage, etc., and people fall in love. It should be called Super Soul Mates. Super Soul Mates. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Some don't work. Some of them do.
All right.
Anyway, meet your spiritual partner.
Yeah, could happen.
Could happen. Hey, we've got a big announcement here. Hare Krishna. Session 6 of Sage Groups starts January 20th at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. Goes from February 12th to June 2nd. So if you're not in a Sage Group and you want to be, this is your chance, especially you guys that are here. Listen up here. How do you keep the consciousness high? You meet with a Sage Group. And they're people just like you who are like, you know what? I need more spirituality in my life. And Mara, you do Sage Groups. Tell us, come here. Get in the picture here, Mara. Put those knitting needles down and talk a little. Tell us about Sage Groups.
Our Sage Group was actually I had an incredible group. Ann Watson, who came on for a walk on Wednesday, part of our Sage Group. We had Nancy Rothman, but just, it's like immediately people went really deep with what they're going through. And it was just like we bonded kind of immediately. I'm actually sad that Bobby and I aren't leading this next round just because I'm in India, so it's a little tricky, but
basically you get together, there's a topic you share about, and that sort of like invites you to sort of open up with what you're going through. And it usually has to do with the topic that we're going through in the Bhagavatam too, right, Kasum?
Yeah.
There's a relation.
Yeah, and usually it's tied back to, something you guys were talking about in the show in the past week.
Yeah.
I'm just so I want to double check, and I wish I was more prepared. But I'm not. Are you sure that that's still the date for the sign up? January 20th.
Melanie Pope says it's the 27th. Okay.
Yes, it's 27th.
It's the 27th.
They bumped it.
It's that's the first day to sign up, and you sign up on our website, wisdomofthesages.com.
And this is a thing. This year, last session that we did this, if you were already in a group, you had first dibs. Like you could be signing up and re-registering before anybody else had a chance to get a week or something.
Is it like that now?
No, now it's first come,
it's like
first serve.
It's like an Indian railway station. It's like,
yeah, it's kind of like
out of my way.
So if you want to get in a particular group, even if you're already in that group, you got to be ready to sign up that day.
That's exciting.
Otherwise, you might not get in it.
Okay.
And if you want to get in a group that you've been wanting to get in for a long time and weren't able to get in the past, this is your chance.
You might have a chance. Okay.
Yeah.
But they're great, and they're a great way to keep spiritual sangha. It's absolutely free. So
I get to overhear Tara, who I've been staying with for some months now. He does 2 sage groups.
he leads 2 sage groups.
Two per week.
He's inspired.
He is. And I get to overhear the conversation sometimes.
They're very high, huh?
They're wonderful. I can just see I can feel the connection between all the people. I can sense how it's something that they wait for. They're eager to take part in every week. And it's really a chance to share things that maybe they're going through somewhat alone, like
Sure.
they're practicing the bhakti in a little bit in their own world.
Right.
And it's an opportunity to connect with people that are doing the same thing. And it's very, tangible, the value that they're getting from it, their eagerness for it.
Do sage groups ever have like in-person meetups? Like, let's all meet together.
I think that sometimes, they've connected for sure.
Mara, do they?
Yeah, Mara's like, I don't do that.
I don't do all the sage groups. I only have one. But I met with my sagelings in person, not all together because
I thought Mara was like put on her sunglasses. I don't do that.
But I mean, we've had Carla, Brittany, Nancy, Brimit. We've all gotten together, Bobby. Yeah.
It's nice. So you can, yeah.
So that's January 27th.
We all need friends that lift us up. Isn't that true? Come on.
Yes. All right.
Gotta cut out some people out of my life.
You're
Not
looking
you.
over me.
Not you. You're staying.
All right.
You're trying to run. I'm going to tackle you. All right. So it's Q&A day, people. If you're new to this on Facebook, welcome. Here's a study of the Srimad Bhagavatam. How does a soul relate to God, and how do you practice that in this world? Srimad Bhagavatam's got the answers for you, and we studied it, and we study it, and we do it every day. And you can join us wherever you get podcasts and YouTube. Make sure you share it if you like it with somebody else. So people sending their today is the special day where people write in their questions, but we're going to take questions from our studio audience. Who's got questions today?
Oh,
look who's here first. Ryan. Somebody better think of a good question.
Right between
come right between us. Okay. Ryan, Linda, and Cody.
Right in the middle.
This is Ryan. Now, Ryan, let me just introduce Ryan. I don't know not that much about you, but he's a pleasant surprise. You were a very pleasant surprise. I didn't know you. You came onto the scene. You're all Harry bowling immediately. You're dancing in kirtan, spinning around, wearing kurtas, and you're like inspired.
Well, I've had good teachers.
That's a good answer. That's a sweet answer.
Hiding in the others category.
Where do you live?
In upstate New York, just a few hours away from Super Soul in Ithaca.
Oh, then you got to come visit.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. I thought you were in New York City. Okay. What's the name of the town?
Ithaca.
Oh.
But which Ithaca? Does it have another name?
Ithaca 2. I thought you meant.
Raghunath doesn't always listen.
Yeah, I don't know if you picked up on that yet.
Well, are you ready to listen to the question?
Yes, I am.
Maybe.
Yes, I am. So wait a second. You've just been listening. How did you get into the podcast? Let's just start there.
A mutual friend of ours, Ava Sullivan, recommended the Rich Roll podcast to me.
Wow.
Which
not us. You didn't recommend us.
Okay. Which coincidentally
helped. But Raghu's Rich Roll podcast.
Yes, helped me find you because you were interviewed on Rich Roll.
Okay.
And it was at a time in my life when I was going through the 12 steps in recovery, and I was ready for a higher power and ready to have a relationship with a higher power, but I didn't know how to conceptualize that.
That's beautiful. That's Rich Roll.
And Ava's one of the sweetest people you meet, you know.
So is Rich Roll.
Okay.
Yeah, Ava definitely lended you all some credibility.
That's great.
So my question relates to my career. I've been working as a chef in the food service industry for the past 5 to 7 years. And in America, that involves a lot of meat. And I have accumulated some bad karma as a result of processing meat, making it very delicious and scrumptious for customers to turn it into money. I've already transitioned to vegan, and I'm here in Maharashtra to train as a yogi and to train as a yoga teacher. But in addition to making this transition in my personal life and in my professional life, I would like some advice on how to deal with and how to think about the bad karma that I've accumulated through my personal and professional pursuits.
You know who this reminds me of? The #1 chef
Oh, yeah.
in Columbia County. Yeah, she struggled with it. I'd love to hear like a little Mara insight.
But we need to hear about Mara's karma and exactly where.
Well, yeah, Mara. I mean, Mara. Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you,
Harry Bo Ryan. You want to share something about this? Because Mara was also. It was, yeah. It was her business. She built her whole life about it. How did it go for you? Because you were practicing Bhakti and still doing it. How did that work with you?
Yeah, I struggled with this for a long time, especially since I had a lot of not a lot, but I had employees that I felt responsible for. So I didn't feel like I was able to like shift my whole catering business immediately when I stopped eating meat, because I knew that it was going to radically change the nature of my business in terms of the scale of it. And then I had a whole plan to open up a secondary vegetarian catering business, but then COVID happened and COVID had another plan for me. But I struggled with this and like just feeling real guilty about it for a long time, which is guilt isn't always like the most helpful feeling to get you through anything. But I also find that like, because of that, I think it keeps me humble in that like, I never get particularly, like if people are struggling with giving up meat, I didn't struggle with giving it up, but I have so much blood on my hands from how much meat I've served, you know what I mean? That I feel like I'm no better than anybody who's just like eating a piece of chicken every now and again or whatever. So I think it also works to like keep me humble. But as far as actual things, you know, feeding people plant-based food, I feel like has made a big shift in terms of like getting people to understand that plant-based can be like really tasty and they don't need to have meat. So I almost feel like that's hopefully accruing a little bit or balancing out some of the bad karma that I have. And then like bathing in holy places, dipping in sacred rivers, things like that are actually supposed to purify me. And cow seva. those are probably
I can I give a shot at this one first?
For sure.
You know, when Lord Ram went to Lanka with his army of monkeys and bears to attack Lanka and go rescue Lady Sita from Ravana. Ravana called all his ministers together. And his ministers said, you know, what should we do? And they're like, don't worry about Ram. You'll crush Ram. Who is Ram? He's some mortal. You're so powerful. All the demigods are afraid of you. Ravana had one very pious brother called, anyone know? Vibhishan. Vibhishan was actually a devotee, but he just stayed in Ram's family and did his work. Sort of like Mara, like she was a devotee, but she's like doing her work. And his work was, he was the brother of the king. And then finally, he just gave some good advice as a minister. He said, you know, Ravana, you stole his wife. Just give his wife back. And Ram is very kind. He'll forgive you. It's like you did something wrong. Just stop right there and give him his back. Give her back. You don't need another. You have a harem of queens. And Ravana was so infuriated. He just said, if you weren't my brother, I would kill you. Get out of here. You're faithless.
Threw him out of the kingdom.
Threw him out of the kingdom. And he was sort of happy. He was sort of happy. Like, now I have an out. Both of you got an out also at a certain point. Krishna will arrange for you to get out of that very difficult predicament. And you know what he did? And this is in reference to your question. He went to Ram and he walked there like a prince. And all the other monkeys were thinking, oh, this is one of Ravana's brothers. Let's kill him immediately. And Hanuman and Ram saw this man is different. Something is different about this person. And sure enough, when he saw Lord Ram, he bowed down. He took off his crown. He bowed down to Lord Ram. Now, oftentimes in the material world, if you bow down to someone, they'll step on your head. But Ram's not like that. Ram lifted him up, embraced him, and he said, you know, my Lord, I've made some horrible choices, Vibhishan said, but from now on, I am yours. We've all made horrible choices. We've all, it's safe to say, we've made at least one or two horrible choices in our life. But when you embrace Ram, when you approach Ram, he embraces you, and your past is forgotten in Ram's eyes. You don't have to dig up that past. It's gone. You just move forward on your bhakti path. Now, if you have some attachment to it, that's another thing. You might have to work on those attachments, but just move forward in your we're practicing controlling our tongue. If you're attached to meat eating, some people are. Practice not being attached to it. You know, I don't think you're attached to it. You went vegan, but as you step forward in your bhakti, all's forgiven about the past. And also that it was described like your karma is like a fan, and you surrender to Krishna or God. It's like unplugging that fan. You'll still get some karma from the past, but it's burning off very, very quickly. You're doing everything right.
The momentum behind it is
the momentum's over now. And now Krishna uses that karma in a more of a magical way than some mode of, guna's way, right? Now Krishna's using that karma for some purification. Krishna's now taking control of your karma. Your whole astrological chart means nothing. Now Krishna's taking control of every little detail. Krishna's now the driver of your vehicle, and everything is a blessing. Haribo. You too. But Krishna, and for both of you guys, Krishna gave you an out. But I think he might have held you there for a while, or you held yourself there for a while because you weren't ready for the out yet. And then it came to a certain point. It was a blessing. It became very, very obvious. It's over. So good for both of you guys.
Oh, Bombay girls are here.
The Bombay girls are here. Welcome, Bombay girls. Direct from Bombay, Haribo. Okay, Bombay girls, contain yourself. We're on live now. But they're regulars on our show, right? Last time we were in Govardhan Hill. They were here. Remember? Are you?
Govardhan.
I was with you were here, and I was in Govardhan.
Right.
You were in Mayapur. Yeah. So welcome. Okay. Next question.
Hold on. Can I speak to that one?
Oh,
It's okay.
because you sort of like give me some stroke. I thought, oh, he must just like.
No, I loved your answer.
Let's hear your angle, sir.
So I'll try not to touch where I think everything that you said was really valuable. But let's go on with it. I was thinking that within all the different spiritual traditions or all the different religions, there's kind of like a progression or an evolution of how one approaches it. And in Sanskrit and from the Vedic tradition, these levels that you climb, they're called karma, jnana, bhakti. So karma is where there's a lot of concern about the laws of karma, a lot of concern about bad karma in particular, how to accumulate good karma, how to accumulate pleasant results to one's activities, how to avoid the bad karma, how to counteract the bad karma that I've committed in the past so I don't have to suffer. Really, this karma is we could call it this cosmic sensitivity training, right? It's meant to train us.
Come up with that?
I'm not sure if I
Cosmic
did, or I might have heard of it.
training. I like that.
Sure, yeah.
It sounds very good.
You like that?
Cosmic sensitivity.
Or cosmic sensitivity training from Bayonne.
It's a band, yeah.
So it's meant to help. It has a purpose, And the purpose is that it gets us going, moving towards thinking and behaving in a way that is harmonious with our true nature as compassionate, kind, generous, loving souls, which is really our nature. So its job is to help correct us when we're straying from that, help reward us when we're moving in that direction. That's how we understand how the law of karma works. Now, all the different traditions, they may not go into depth about something like the law of karma, but they all have a conception of sin or bad behavior and a conception of reactions for that, negative reactions for that. And so on that lower, I don't want to speak down to it, but in one sense, it's the lower rung of evolution. There's a lot of concern about that. In Judeo-Christian language, they'll call that like salvation, right? Salvation, I think literally like the definition of salvation has to do with freedom from the reaction to one's sins.
Or what, like penance in Catholicism?
Well, so penance is for the purpose of attaining salvation, right? Like let me try to counteract.
Atone for my sins.
I'll do this so that I'm not getting worse reactions.
Sure.
So
is that what were you what's it called?
Confirmed?
Confirmed.
I was confirmed.
Okay. So isn't in confirmation you have to go to the priest?
You have to
I've done this, I've done some naughty things.
Yes.
And then he says, okay, you chant 4 Our Fathers, 20 Hail Marys. Is that what it is? Would you say that's the same thing of like?
It's yes. I mean, because it's one thing if you're saying Hail Mary because I want to develop deeper love for Mary. And it's another thing if you're praying Hail Mary because you don't want to have to suffer the results of your previous activities. So that conception, I'm praying Our Father, I'm praying Hail Mary, I'm praying it so that I won't have to suffer the results of my past sins. That's the karmic mentality. That's the lower rung of the spiritual realization. Then there's something called jnana, which we don't need to get into right now. And then there's something called bhakti. In bhakti, that's not the concern, right? I'm chanting Hail Mary or praying Hail Mary, not because I am trying to counteract my past. I'm praying Hail Mary because I want my goal, my focused goal is to develop love for Jesus and love for Mary. And therefore I'm absorbing my consciousness in sentiments of through that prayer. Right. So bhakti yogis, their whole thing is I have faith that if I give myself to Krishna, if I offer Krishna my body, if I offer Krishna my words, if I offer Krishna my mind, my heart, then I'm in his hands. And then I'm not worried about manipulating the automated laws of this universe, right? Krishna I'm his. He's the one that's in charge of these laws. They're all his energies. Let me just give myself to him. And if I'm meant to suffer, then that's Krishna. That's Krishna's hand in that for my own good, right? I'll bring it on then. All I want is to develop that prema. All I want is to develop that pure love. So therefore the bhakti yogi is there's these Vedic rituals they call prayaschitta, right? That are designed to help counteract your bad karma. And the Vedic literature, which deals a lot on that karmic level, the 4 Vedas, they prescribe things like this, or you get these dharma shastras like Manu Samhita and stuff that speak a lot about, they speak to that. But when you get to the refined, well-developed, mature literature like the Srimad Bhagavatam, they don't have any interest in that. As a matter of fact, they speak directly to it. And the point is made is, what's the point to counteracting your past bad activities when you're just trying to become free from the reaction? But unless you deal with the actual desire in your heart for those things, you just commit those same things again. And it's like an elephant jumping in the water, becoming clean, and jumping out and rolling on the ground and getting dirty again. You're just stuck in a cycle. You're not going anywhere. You're just kind of obsessed with the automated laws that God created in this world. Why not just turn to God, with a pure heart, with a pure motive? so the Bhakti Yoga is just like, dear God, I'm yours. If I'm meant to suffer, I'm suffering. But then this is the point. Once you do that, that's what the law of karma and all the bad karma is meant to help you understand anyway. So it's kind of like that's the beginning of your reformation in a sense, right? Like it's like you're already moving in the right direction. It's kind of like you don't have to come and shove a person in a direction that they're already moving in. So that bad karma is really not so necessary for you because it's for your own good. But if you're already moving in that direction, you don't really, it's unnecessary now. And so therefore, what Raghunath said was really profound. That if we're profound. Thank you. It's profound because the idea is what I'm suffering now for the Bhakti Yoga is like, maybe it's a direct result of a previous activity of mine. Maybe it's the direct result of a previous activity of mine, but the potency of it has been greatly reduced. Like the plug has been pulled out of the fan. So when it hits me, it's not hitting me so hard. Or maybe it has nothing to do with my past behavior, but maybe it's just Krishna's way of helping me become the person I need to become. Whatever it is, I accept it as Krishna's grace, right? Whatever it is, I accept it as Krishna's grace. I'm not concerned about manipulating it. I'm not concerned about counteracting it. I just accept it. And I just focus all my attention, my mind on serving Krishna. And so therefore you'll get there's a lot of different quotes you can find that speaks about this when you're on that higher rung of the Bhakti Shastras, the Bhakti literature. One of them we can read in the Nectar of Devotion, which is a book, it's a very focused book on explaining the speciality of Bhakti Yoga. And one thing that's mentioned there is that when you are in kirtan, singing the names of Krishna, dancing with ecstasy, when you're actually not going to some priest and paying him some donation to do some ritual to, reverse something. No, you're just like, I love you and I want to sing and dance and chant your names. And when you clap your hands in that kirtan, they say it's like, you can hear all the birds now. Yeah.
Away.
It's like sometimes you can go to a tree and clap your hands and all the birds and they all take off. So when you clap your hands in the kirtan, it's like all of that bad karma that you had, it's like birds just flying out of you.
It's good news, isn't it? Yeah. Everyone just starts clapping and clapping.
And nobody clapped so much in kirtan before.
That was a great answer. And it reminded me of, we had a next level kirtan last night.
Oh man.
It was one of these kirtan. I started, I'm like a B-rate kirtan guy. I'm okay with that. But I had
no. You're good.
I'm getting better. I had my good thing going, Radhe, Radhe, all that stuff.
Yeah.
But then Kishore Rico was there from the Mayapuris. And he is like the Ricky Ricardo of kirtan. He is powerful, beautiful, great dancer. Plays the Wampers like, Mozart plays the harpsichord.
Okay.
And anyway, it was
exactly like that. Yes.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah.
And he could sing and dance. It's a whole show with him. So he's doing Radhe, Radhe. I'm doing Radhe.
Then Janavi got
then
the mic.
Janavi jumps in Radhe, Radhe. And the whole place goes incredibly wild. The whole thing, it's like it erupts, comes down, lands. Good night, everybody. Who walks in the door? Radha Swami. And the whole thing starts from the beginning again. Right when you thought the night was over, we went a little over. It's time for lunch. It's like 7:45. It's time for dinner. Radha Swami comes in, does another whole hour and a half. And it says like the clock stopped. We could have been there for hours last night. We were leaving our bodies. You were floating on air. It was unbelievable. I think I just posted something on my Instagram.
At one point when Janavi was singing, because people have to picture this is up on a hill, like a peak.
Yeah, a temple,
and it's an outdoor temple, so it's like a courtyard, a marble courtyard, kind of sunken courtyard up on this hill, and we're under the stars, in this tasteful kind of charming carved sandstone outdoor small temple, and the kirtan was going on, and Janavi was singing, who's got one of the most angelic voices on earth, and all the people were dancing to that. And I took a few steps back towards those steps, and so I was just observing it from a distance for a moment. And when I saw that, everyone was dancing with their arms in the air at nighttime under this. And I thought, this is like, this is very clearly, you know, it was obvious. This reminded me of the stories. Maybe a lot of our listeners don't know about this, but Srivasangan.
Yeah, Lord Chaitanya would go with his intimate disciples and just sing every night.
Yeah, the origin of the Sankirtan movement, doing these kirtans at night, and everybody just absorbed with their arms in the air. And I saw Jananivas Prabhu, this one of the purest saints, you know, that we know, who's lived in Mayapur for so many years and just a pure devotee of Lord Chaitanya. And he came up the stairs and he just got right there and in it. And I'm, you know, I can't say what was going on in his mind, but it just seemed to me like he must be singing like, oh my God, Lord Chaitanya's pastimes are just playing out here. You know, it was beautiful.
Yeah, it was one of these really, even I'm one of those guys who are like, okay, that was a great kirtan. Let's see. You know, I'm like one of those guys. I like a beginning, a middle, and an end. It literally felt like the clock stopped and we could have sat there all night. Yeah. And even when Mara said, you know, good night, it didn't end. Everyone was just waiting. Like, is it going to go on? We're okay if it does.
Yeah.
And, you know, Shameshri was excellent, or Kirtan Academy.
Like the Kirtan Academy.
Kirtan Academy, they can hit it out of the park. They all performed. And Shameshri, she was like a rock star, and it was quite wonderful. Can you do a repeat today? We actually have the day off today.
Listen, Bombay girls, you can't just come in here.
You come in,
turn the scheduler.
Come in from Bombay. They own the place. But yes.
But there's always Yamuna Arti. That's really nice.
Yeah, Yamuna Arti tonight is very nice.
All right.
That was good. I had to mention that. And we had a great meeting with Maharaj yesterday too.
We did.
So
that was really
very sweet.
Yeah.
Very sweet. Okay. Next question.
There's a question.
Linda, come on down. One of our favorite Zoomers from Tampa, Florida. St. Pete. Did I say Tampa? Cross the river, cross the bay of Bengal there.
There we go.
Hey, Linda. She's a regular worker, a regular Zoomer. I meant to say who should retired from work. Yeah. Tell your story, my dear.
My story is I heard Raghunath on Rich Roll back in 2021, and I was captivated. And so I tuned into the podcast, and then I thought, oh, I'm going to join the Zoom. And then the next year I went to about 3 different retreats, and I just keep coming back. My bhakti just keeps getting deeper and deeper. So I'm really grateful. Thank you to you both.
Yeah. Exciting. She's, you know, empowered lady.
Yeah, in the summer.
Oh, did you go through his drawers like I told you to?
I did not.
Okay.
Actually, I was very intentional not to go through things I shouldn't go through.
I gave her a whole list. Check here, check there, check everywhere.
His library is very, very, I was very envious of it though. I went home and immediately wanted to make my home more septic.
That's called spiritual envy. It's a good thing.
Yeah.
That's good. So Linda, how can we serve you today?
So my question is this. One of the 6 pillars of bhakti is to take no offense. It's a good pillar.
It's a good pillar, important.
But in the Bhagavatam, it mentions in several places that one of the worst things you can do is offend a devotee. That one of the key principles is not to offend a devotee. So it seems contradictory, and I'm hoping you can provide some clarity.
Right. That's a great question. We don't want to offend devotees. Now, devotees.
I don't know if Linda wants to sit down or stay. No, do you want? There may be more.
Sit down. Okay. Sit down. Let us know if you're satisfied here.
Are you comfortable?
Yeah.
Okay.
We don't want to offend devotees, but devotees don't take offense. Even if someone was to say, someone was to be offensive, my work is I don't take offense. I have to understand how this isn't even happening to me. It's happening for me. Somehow this is happening for my evolution. And you're like, well, what's the big deal then? I'll offend everybody. They're not going to take offense anyway. They don't take offense. Krishna takes offense because they become very dear to Krishna. Just like if you can say whatever you want to me, but if you mess around with one of my kids, I lose my mind. You know what I mean? So just like a parent is so affectionate towards the child. If someone gives your child, hey, something or is kind to your child, it warms your heart. But if someone's cruel to your child, you become like a mother bear, and you start to attack. So in the same way, Krishna loves everyone. What to speak of the people who are practicing bhakti, trying to get on a regular basis, trying to get closer to Krishna. So the devotees naturally don't take offense. They internalize it. They understand, hey, I've got some bad karma. I probably deserve worse. How can I see this for my purification? If I do take offense, I should understand I'm off my spiritual tracks. The train is off the tracks. So we practice that on a regular basis, immediately and completely. But Krishna will take offense. So we have to go to that devotee that we're harboring a resentment against or that we've offended, and we apologize. Did that answer your question?
Yes.
Kastuba?
I'll
You
just
want to emboss that?
emboss it.
Emboss it, please.
I'll try. No, that was great, Raghunath. It made me think of one pastime in the Bhagavatam. We're not there yet. 9th canto.
Mm-hmm.
Who am I thinking of?
Ambarish.
Ambarish Maharaj.
Good one.
There's this one great ruler, warrior, king, Ambarish. His whole, Ambarish, I believe, is the example of Atmanivedana, is it not?
Giving one's very self.
He gave everything. So although he was this important political figure with, so much worldly responsibility, everything that he did, all the senses of his body, all his mind was just like kind of fully absorbed in making everything an offering to God. So he was very dear to God. And then there's this one very powerful mystic yogi, right? Like
He's a plenary portion of Lord Shiva.
Yeah. But he's also known, and Shiva is also known as Asutosh, which means
Mara.
Yeah.
Easily angered and easily pleased.
So, and maybe with a particular focus on easily angered.
Yeah.
And so, how is it that he ended up going there? He
just
just
showed up with
up.
all his disciples,
He had like hundreds of disciples with him.
and they would just follow him there, and they'd show up at a house, and he
Yeah.
said, "Okay," and they're, it's nature. When a sadhu comes to your house, you want to feed them. So he's like, "Okay, we're going to take bath first, and then we're going to come and eat."
Yeah. So he's like, okay, this is wonderful. I have this opportunity to serve this yogi and all of his followers. And then they all went to go bathe, and he was going to prepare everything. But in that time, while they were bathing, he had been following a strict fast. And to do these things precisely, you fast for a certain amount of time, and then you break the fast at a certain time. And he realized it would be wrong for me to eat before my guests return. I shouldn't be eating before I serve my guests.
And not only that, he's like, Durvas Muni is going to get really mad if he sees me eating before the guests eat.
I mean, I'm not. Are you sure that he was worried about that in particular? Or
Probably worried.
I think he was feeling like, I don't want to
Make that
do anything out of inappropriate. But at the same time, it's like, but my fast is an offering to God, and I want to offer it in just the right way. So then he consulted with his advisors, Let's sit down and figure this out.
Let's act this out. I'll be the advisor. Okay, here's what
do I do?
Okay, you gotta break your fast, but you can't break your fast.
Okay.
Here's the plan. You drink a little water.
Okay.
Water is like breaking a fast, and it's like not breaking a fast.
Perfect. Thank you. I would have never thought of that. So he drinks a little water.
Now I'll be Durvas. Go.
Okay. So, I'm just welcome back. I'm ready to serve you.
Oh, you got to drink the water now.
I've already drank it.
I thought he saw him drinking the water and goes,
No, he doesn't need this. He doesn't need to see him. He's got that.
He knows.
He's a yogi.
You drank water. How dare you indulge yourself before you take care of your guests? You sit there and indulge yourself. Ambarisha, he's a great soul. He takes no offense. Please forgive me.
Yeah. But Durvasa was so angry that he cursed.
Fire.
Fire.
He made a fireball.
Yeah, he had like this.
Through a fireball.
And so, but rather than it hitting Ambarish, rather he ended up being chased, right, by the Sudarshan chakra of Lord Vishnu. Correct?
What happened was he threw the fireball at Ambarish. But Lord Vishnu said, "My devotee." Boom, and he threw this chakra at the fireball.
Counteract
got two fireballs coming out of each other. But Lord Vishnu, of course, swallows the other one
Okay.
and starts chasing the great sage throughout the universe.
Now he's not used. Usually, the sage is the one that's in full control. Like he's got this yogic power, and he's always kind of like nobody can mess with him. Suddenly, he has Lord Vishnu's fiery chakra burning at his back, and he's running as fast as he can, trying to find some relief. And he has the ability to go all the way up to Vaikuntha, to the outer edges of the spiritual realm. And there he finds Lord Vishnu, and he says, "Please, I'm sorry. Please remove this disc from, I need to be free from this." And Vishnu says, "I can't. That's not how this works. You've offended my devotee." And so he's taken offense at that. And he says, and there's only one cure. You can apologize to me all day. It's not going to make any difference. You have to go back and apologize to him. And then he says this famous verse, and this kind of reveals something. I think this verse kind of gets to the heart of Raghunath's answer to your question. I used to know this one. It's a nice poetic one. Sadhavo hridayam mayam. You heard this one, Raghunath?
Yeah.
Sadhunam hridayam tvaham. Mad anya te na janati. See that? Naham tebyo managapi. The pure devotee this is Lord Vishnu speaking, and he's speaking to this mystic yogi. That mystic yogi accrued power through austerities, through intense yogic practice, but that didn't touch Vishnu's heart. What touched the heart was the devotion, the love of Ambarisha. So he says, the pure devotee is always within the core of my heart. Right? We don't always hear this kind of description about God. We hear about how God is in the heart of the devotee. We don't often hear about how the devotee is in the heart of God. Right? It's not a one-way love thing or one-way worship thing. He's worshiping his devotee. So he says, the pure devotee is always within the core of my heart, and I am always in the heart of my pure devotee. My devotees do not know anything else but me, and I do not know anything else but them. Yeah. So it's the devotee is like that. They're not offended, but it's hurt the heart of Krishna. Just like you gave a nice example. If it doesn't matter how nice you are to a parent, if you offend their child in some way, it just counteracts everything that you might have done to win their heart. It just overrides everything. Yeah.
Was that good?
Yes.
Thank you, Linda.
All right.
Linda.
Good question.
Good question. No more offenses, Linda. She's like the least offensive person ever. You're the most pleasant lady.
She is. Okay.
That was good. Cody, come on
Cody.
down. Cody's a regular Zuma. She's from the Deep South. Southern
South?
Belle.
She's got a parasol. You'll see in a moment.
That would be a good Zoom nickname for you, the Southern Belle. Oh, really? Okay. You're the Southern Belle till you get there. How are you?
I'm good.
Tell your story. Who are you? Where are you from? What's your deal?
I'm Cody. I live in Charlottesville, Virginia right now, but was in New York for a long time, New York City. And that's how I stumbled into Bhakti.
Prema Yoga Brooklyn.
Prema, yes.
Oh, wow.
I did yoga teacher training. He was
Yeah.
my philosophy teacher.
That was fun.
And then stumbled into someone who went to Prema who highly recommended pilgrimage. And I went quite blindly. I had never even met you or anything. And then in 2017.
Boy, were you in for a surprise.
It was, yeah. I had no idea, but I was.
Where did we go?
That was 2017. So that was Rishikesh, Haridwar, Vrindavan.
Well, we actually time we were going to, I think we were going to Badrinath and we got rained out. Was that it?
No, I don't think it was that trip.
Okay.
Maybe not. But,
Right. Anyway.
but I've been back. It's my 4th trip to India with you. So
It's slightly addictive, isn't it?
yeah.
Once you get a taste for
Like a
holy
hook.
places and people at devotional service, it's like all you want to do is come back. You think about it all year long.
I was going to say, you're accruing all kinds of memories and experiences that are going to just inform the rest of your life, stay with you.
An association, I think, is huge.
Sure. And let me ask you a question. Was there a shifting point where you like, you know what? I'm opting in for this. Where was that?
On that first pilgrimage.
Really?
Yeah.
What happened? Like, was there a place, a point in time?
Perhaps one of Raghunath's kirtan.
Perhaps,
Yeah.
perhaps your other philosophy
Yeah.
teachers lecture.
Gosh. I think actually being down at the Ganges at
Mm,
Mother Ganga, that first time really there was the big shift that happened there. of
powerful.
surrender. Yeah.
She's powerful.
Ganga is very merciful.
Yeah. She
powerful.
is.
Okay. I'm humble, but yes, Mother Ganga.
Okay, it was
Okay,
Ganga.
it was Ganga. All right. I gotta give Ganga credit.
So my question is a pretty simple one, but I'm a little embarrassed to ask it this late in the game,
Okay.
but I'm going to ask it anyway. What is the Bhakti viewpoint on doing chanting japa silently in your head? Is it considered not as effective or frowned upon? Is it not even considered japa at all if it isn't technically an audible sound vibration? I can drop into meditation better when it is silent, but I want to be aware if there is a huge benefit to chanting aloud that I might be missing.
Good question.
I can say what I've read, and I can say what I've experienced as well.
One question before
Where'd you read
say
it? I know.
What did you read it?
Get your
that.
guitar.
Was it from a comic book?
I get all my sacred wisdom from Vedic comic books. I can't remember where I read it.
Harinam Chintamani.
Maybe there's 3 types of chanting. There's silent.
Okay, let's talk about the book.
Harinam Chintamani.
Yeah.
Okay.
Harinam Chintamani is a book that is a conversation between Sri Chaitanya, the Yuga Dharma avatar of chanting the holy name, speaking with Haridas Thakur, who is the Namacharya, the great teacher of the chanting of the names. And Haridas Thakur, maybe you can share just a few words about Haridas.
He was not born. He was a Muslim that was,
Born
At the
into a
time we're
Muslim family.
born in a Muslim family at the time, Muslim invaders and Muslim rule in India. But he understand like, oh, I get it. These people aren't preaching a particular religion. They're speaking of spiritual truths.
Krishna is the Allah that
Krishna is the same as Allah. We're talking about a spiritual thing. And of course, these names of Krishna, they're very intimate, but there's only one God. And he understood like, it makes no difference, but this holy name is very, very powerful. And he fell in love with all these Vedic teachings.
Mhm.
So he was considered the master of chanting japa.
practically he just chanted. He was like a yogi in this sense.
Yeah. He had the ability to stop his heart
Even-
from beating, and he could just
Yeah,
sit
he could-
and
yeah.
fast and chant sit in meditation in his cave all day.
Exactly. All
Live
that
with the serpent in the cave. And
happily, and everyone was like,
Happily,
"You got to get out of that cave because there's this big poisonous serpent in there." He's like, "Oh, I don't know what you're
It's
talking about."
okay.
And then eventually the serpent said, "Okay, I'll leave it for him." And the serpent.
Yeah.
Anyway, many stories,
many stories.
particularly the story about the prostitute. But maybe there's a
Prostitute's
story-
always a good story.
Right?
All the prostitute stories are
When
good.
prostitute was sent by the Muslim ruler because they didn't like the example that a Muslim has now become a Hindu and he's popular, and this makes us look bad.
Try to humiliate
They
him.
try to send the prostitute to seduce him. And what happened with the prostitute?
This happens when you're around great souls. You become like them.
Prostitute
The
became
prostitute became a great devotee.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh.
Then all of a sudden they put him in prison, and all the people in jail start chanting, and they're driving him crazy, and then they try to execute him.
No matter what they
And
did,
it didn't work.
once they said, "No, you have to stop chanting or we'll beat you and imprison you." He said, "You could chop my body up into millions of pieces and every little piece is still going to be chanting Krishna's names. It's just what I am." So anyway, he's this greatly honored in our tradition, Haridas Thakur. So this is a conversation where Sri Chaitanya, who we accept as non-different, he is Krishna. Krishna asking the questions to Haridas Thakur, who's giving the answers. And Sri Chaitanya is saying, "Oh, your answers are so perfect and so valuable." And he's saying, "You're telling me my answers are good, but it's you that's speaking through me. I have nothing to offer, but it's only." So it's a beautiful conversation where Krishna is glorifying his devotee by asking him the questions. And so there he speaks on this subject of chanting silently or chanting out loud.
Chanting quietly, silently, audibly, or loudly. Hi, Krishna! Like that. All of them are okay. Whatever helps you keep your mind focused.
Mm.
Now, sometimes I like to chant and just sit almost like silent meditation, but I'm inhaling the Maha Mantra and exhaling the Maha Mantra, or sometimes inhaling twice the Maha Mantra, exhaling twice the Maha Mantra. But I find that
techniques.
I'm teaching you secret techniques. My pranayam guru taught me this in South India. But I find that generally slightly audible for me helps me focus more. I know I'm a little bit loud. When I walk around chanting with Mara, she's very quiet when she chants. She's just very quiet, period. But and I'm just a little Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, 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 right? Like that. And sometimes I'll go, Hare Krishna, just to like, come on, mind, wake up. And so sometimes I'll do like that. You don't have to hit yourself, but sometimes I'll just Hare Krishna.
But as I remember what it's saying that actually even what you said is absolutely correct, but that silent chanting is actually considered like a higher level of chanting, not higher. It's a higher qualification to chant that way. In other words, the audible sound is an aid to keep the mind fixed. So chanting silently is doing it without that aid. It's kind of like there's no training wheels on in one sense. So it's certainly valid and real.
Sure.
But we are encouraged to chant loudly so that the sound can help us keep the mind focused. And so, a lot of times people ask, what should I be thinking about when I chant and so on? And my answer, I always go back to what I heard from Srila Prabhupada, and that is like, just try to hear the sound. Just try to hear the sound. Chant and try to hear the sound. So I generally like to chant aloud. Sometimes I do chant silently depending on the circumstance. But I would recommend, if not always, at least to regularly chant the sound aloud, and then just try to hear the vibration and feel the vibration and bathe in the vibration, immerse yourself in this sound. Otherwise, it's the same vibration going through the mind, but if you can get it going through the ears and the body and the mind, it may be an aid. Yeah.
I like that. How do you do it now?
Silently.
How's that work?
How's that working for you?
I mean, it works, but yeah, I do feel like my mind has a tendency to like have it looping up front, and then there's like a whole nother conversation going on.
I have that too. I have that too.
Ever chant that? Ever chant silently and end up chanting the Z mantra? That's a problem. That's one problem with chanting silently. It's very easy to sort of like doze off, especially if you're rising very early to chant too. Anyway,
thank you, Cody. What a sincere person Cody is.
Loud. I'll see.
So Cody, so far you've been here for 2 weeks. You're going to be here for the wisdom training. Are you going to my board too?
I am. Yeah.
You're done see, you know what she called me, she's like, I'm trying to figure out which one to do. And I was like, Cody, this whole thing's for you. She's not tight with money right now, and she's got time.
And we're trying to make these things inexpensive so people can keep coming back. I was like, they're all designed for you, Cody. Just do the whole darn thing. And she's like, all right, well. All right, well. But well, how was your experience? We've been here for 2 weeks so far. How's it going? Highs and lows.
It's amazing. I mean, lows would be just like, trying to get over jet lag and the stuff that just comes with going halfway around the world.
Yeah.
But other than that, like, it's just been, again, I always come back to the association of the people that gravitate towards Bhakti, and especially towards this Sangha. That association is everything.
She's got realization.
Yeah, we got some good people in our life.
Really, yeah. And being able to connect with like-minded people and talk about, just skip the small talk and go straight to just what our hearts have to say.
Some depth immediately.
Yeah, it's magical. And the kirtan is it's touched my heart more and more and more each time I come back.
Last night, Cody was like into it. She's like, oh, hurry, bowl, everybody.
I know. I could see you taking on your new form as kirtan mistress.
Yeah.
And also you lead kirtans now where you live. And also that, yeah, it's impressive. We're impressed.
Thank you.
Prabhu, thank you so much.
You guys.
You were here last year for this, right?
Yeah.
Curious. Are you in a sage group?
I'm not, but I'm curious. I'm sage curious.
You're sage curious?
Yeah, I am.
January 27th.
That's good
You
to
would be
know.
great. You'd be great. Okay, let's do this.
Maybe you could get a mayor's group. Oh, mayor's not doing it.
Mayor's not
this
doing the
time.
group.
What do you mean you're going to India? I don't know when you're going to India. Oh, right now, but it doesn't start until you're
You're
back.
going to India. We're in India.
Well, at least 2 weeks after January 27. Ah, you good, Jimmy. Let's get Mara back in there. We'll see. Maybe we get Mara back in.
Right. Yeah, I'll be. I'm in.
All right.
Kristen
Thank you,
Merrick's
Cody.
arm live on the show. Alrighty, well,
Haribo, Cody.
all right, that's it.
That's it for the show?
Yeah.
You got 2 questions? 3
Three.
questions. That was good.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us. Thanks for all the live joining us. Super nice. Thanks for all the Zoomers joining us, waking up early on a Sunday morning. You get extra points for that in Krishna's credit account.
Bombay girls right there up
Big
front.
girls up front. Some chat, having a good time. Made a little goodies for us. Brought us some goodies.
Car up there.
Guitar on the film.
Back.
Look at this guy.
Look at this guy,
He's
man.
like wondering, big Indy up there. Thanks for everybody for joining us. If you're not, remember Sage Group on the 27th, go to wisdomsages.com. And also, join our mailing list. You'll like what we're doing. Follow us, share it. Like it, follow it, share it, comment, all that stuff. And of course, if you really like what we're doing, you can contribute. This is a community-supported podcast. Patreon.com/wisdomsages. Thank you for everybody who helps keep this boat floating. It is a beautiful day for your beautiful day. Happy Maha Sankranti.
Makara
Sankranti.
Maha Makara Sankranti. Maha Makara Sankranti.
Maha Makara Sankranti. It's a beautiful day for a beautiful day. Let the magic continue to flow. Harry Bo.